TGIF, everybody. Hi, Sinatra. Greg Herbert, nice to meet you. Welcome to F.A.C.E. Michael. Hello, Mohammed. We always start at the top of the hour for future reference. K-Man, AJ, Kurt, how are you? Ryan, Jordan. So, guys, first time in a while that cable has been weaker than euro. And I was looking at the euro pound. I know it looked pretty bearish, but look at where it held. Possibility of a turn. Why don't I start with Ryan?
Morning, Dale.
Morning, buddy. What do you think? Could we be getting a reversal here? I know we're still lower on the week, but maybe
Yeah.
it would have been better to take out that 85.5 first. But if we do, I'm still looking for higher in the dollar, and euro, the target's around 107. But on cable, I actually think we could see 23 and take this low out. So there's actually more downside, a couple hundred pips more downside in cable to get to where I'd get long compared to euro. I'm wondering if
Well,
you
you
think,
might need a few more
huh?
stinky data points.
Is that what took cable down today?
Yeah, retail sales were, in numbers terms, horrific.
Okay.
In underlying detail terms, as Cade pointed out in the flow show, not as bad as it seems. So it hasn't burst the bubble of the pound just yet. Obviously, we've seen that reaction in euro sterling. I had a level 85.50. I said if it gets below there, then we're probably on for 85, but it's held there. And now we're going to play the 85.50, 86.20 game.
Okay. Those are your important levels. Take heed, everyone who's watching, listening. Okay. So, any comment on, I know you started nibbling at Aussie. You have a little bounce here.
Yeah.
Still pretty negative week unless we have a great day today. You think this is a low, or can we see 65, 64 and a half?
It's the low for now. We've got that 61.8 fib of that whole move at 65, so that's a big level. It held
Right.
the support zone that we've been highlighting for long enough. Can it go lower? Yes. If it doesn't get above 66, 66.20, then 66.40, that break point, then we probably are heading lower. So at the moment, even though I'm long, I'll still put this in dead cat bounce territory for now until it does a bit more.
Okay. I believe yields are, down 1.5 bips, but right at an important, well, actually trying to peek through that 50-day. And what are you thinking here on yields, Ryan? I guess today's number is going to be the key.
Michigan is the last piece of data and existing home sales to drop on our mat. So they could be a bit significant. But yields are creeping high. It seems now perhaps the bond market is buying the higher for longer message a bit more as well. And, looking at the data, saying the data is not too bad. And, it gives yields a reason to push up a bit as well.
Okay. I think we're at least halfway through this correction. I'm not looking for new lows, but, believe halfway back, 18 would take it to 91. That's halfway. 89, I think 61.8. And I happen to think, maybe I'm dead wrong, that this rally was so powerful that there should be another one after we pull back that could be equal to.
Yeah.
So, maybe that's when the dollar really turns bad, is after the 10-year peaks, which, earlier I was calling for 425, 38 back. Why can't it push to 440, halfway back?
Yeah.
And then if we did this from 440, that would give us 320, 330, and I think that was a big level. Yeah, it was these highs. So, 325 right here. Okay, so, close, what's this? 304. So low threes, get a bounce, and then one more decline in yields, and maybe that's when the dollar starts heading south to take out par. Because when I look at the dollar, it looked like kind of a graveyard save twice at par 90 right here. But I think next time it tests it, it's going to break down. So this is a monthly. We're having a decent month, but maybe it'd be better to show it on the daily. Yeah. So, you knocked at the door once, that was a false breakdown. You knocked on the door. This one was called out before it got here. But next time, under par. And that would give us, just taking this section of the dollar index, a breakdown would give us 93. So
that's a pretty big call, Dale, and good morning, team.
That's what I do.
Hey, Dale, do you think this is the year? And I had this conversation earlier this week, and Ryan and K-Man might want to jump in here. Do you think this is the year that the dollar has its sterling moment?
Oh, what do you mean? Is that a play on words?
We get a Soros crash in the dollar. Is that
Oh.
is that your outlook of the dollar this year?
Well,
Too much debt, dollar's going to just collapse, and everybody's going to run to gold and everything else.
Yes.
What do you think?
Yes.
That's it. All right.
All right. I don't know if you call 92. I don't know if you call 92 a crash. There are targets around 85, but definitely resumption. I could see 120 euro if we get through this moving average. Look at where it stopped, Blake. Look at the weekly. So it's a lot like the dollar at that par level. So we got through 111.40. This is the was it 50 or 200 week, but to the pip 3 weeks ago, it was rejected, and we start closing above here. That's going to project pretty high. All right, you could take it from, if you really want to be bullish, you take it from here and add it on. But if you just take this range, under 10, under 105, parity. But I'm thinking I'm going to take a shot at the long side of currencies, short side of the dollar, up around the 105 level, if we get there.
All right. Well, one of the things that's going to help it carry there is S&P's just broke higher. So we just broke the 4805, and we are 9 points away from all-time highs. I'm gonna say that. Like, maybe is that not right?
I figured out technically how people could come up with 6,000. If you think this is like an ascending triangle and we're on the verge of a breakout, and you just take this range, which was about 1,350 handles, and tack it on to 4,800, that gives you 61. So that's how
I'll take that if my buy stop gets filled.
So, but I know some guys that are saying, marginal new highs like Welsh, 4,900. A couple other guys, 51. And then, of course, I just wanted to see how it could be technically measured. So the next thing to really pay attention to is if we have this breakout at 4,800, before this 46 was a line in the sand because that was a prior high, never even got there. Maybe it still will. But once we break out over 4,800, whether we go to 49 or 5 or 51, next time back under 4,800 is a big warning signal, from a major, prior all-time high.
Yeah.
So
Well, I'm
that's the
I'm
way
going
to
to show
look
you
at it.
guys some of the my setups and equities here in just a bit,
Okay.
but I'll let you. We'll
Well, I'll bring K-Man in. You're
yeah, we'll
here, right?
continue this conversation with you guys about the dollar. So go ahead.
Okay, K. Little bounce in the metals, silver. Look at this, how long it's been hanging up above this breakout. When markets take a long time to get going from a breakout, we talked about this breaking out. Look how many tests of this area, so better get going. Silver bulls want to see closes back under 87 and a half
Yeah.
to negate this gold outperformance on silver.
Yeah. And good
So,
morning, Dale. Good morning, everybody.
how are you? What are you thinking here?
Yeah, well, if you look at purely at the two metals separately, they held sort of where they had to
Yeah,
hold. Those low 2000s in gold and around that 22, 35, 40 area that I had.
right here. Yeah.
I had my alert set a little lower, towards the lower end of the box that I have as well, at the low end 2185 in silver. So I haven't bought it yet, but I'm still long term in it. But yeah, it could be enough because we were talking on the flow show as well, and I've got the impression that the bulk of the dollar move on the back of repricing of rate expectations may be done. And I'm not saying that the dollar is going to collapse or cannot trade higher, but I think the bulk of the move is perhaps done. We've corrected the year-end flows,
Yeah.
and now we're hanging at reasonably interesting levels in a lot of dollar pairs. Because the reason why I'm saying that as well is that we should not be solely dollar focused. The rest of the majors are also correcting. Okay, so well, with the exception of sterling today, because we had those retail sales, but the rest of the yields are also correcting. If you look at the European, if you look at before that, the sterling yields and even the yen yields are a little bit higher in sympathy today. So on the basis of that and what happened year end and start of this year, I think now we are in a bit of a phase where we are waiting what next, and that next could actually be a while away. So I reckon violent is a big word, but quite volatile possibly, but more rangy trading right now for a while than outright any real direction coming out. So and I think we may be in the same, unless geopolitics tell us something different, we may see the same in the metals as well.
Okay. Just one, as long as we're talking metals, there's a big cycle due in the miners in 2024, not my work, someone else's work. I don't have original thoughts. So here's Newmont. All right. And a lot of the golds look like this, GDX. All right. So, on the verge of new lows. But what we need now is, so I think they're portending still lower prices. They're underperformance, but we're approaching major, like yearly lows. For example, this is a highly traded silver stock. So, with Blake's narrative of a breakdown in silver, this is First Majestic, and you have to go way back. See if this shows it. Yeah, you have to go way back to 2020. All right, and this was the COVID low, and the low was 414. We're at 465. So we're talking about multi-year lows being attacked in some of these miners.
Yeah, and you know, it's like you look at the bounces in gold just as the metal, and silver just acts like crap. I mean, we bounced 30 cents off of the lows off of support.
Yeah, here's another silver stock that keeps making new lows. And the one I wanted to buy at 310 because it was demonstrating great relative strength until yesterday. And I don't know what the news was. This is where I would be buying it, but I thought I'd be buying it there because of lower silver prices in the 21 handle region. So it gives me pause that we're here already. And I don't think the physical market has bottomed yet.
Yeah. Well, Dale, we got about 15 minutes until data. If you don't mind, I'm going to take over, but I have to say that looks like a good buy.
It does.
Goodbye house, goodbye wife, goodbye,
that one.
goodbye car, goodbye all sorts of goodbyes there. So goodbye.
Yeah.
All right.
Goodbye.
Hey,
goodbye,
like I said, I'm
Mr.
going to take over. I want to talk a little bit about the S&P because S&P just came off of really key support this week. We've been discussing it, and we're about ready to break December highs. And then Ryan got a little cheeky with me, and he said, "Which December?" And that was funny, Ryan.
Yeah, I got the big high now. I've just been filled on my buy stop. I'm not sure I want it. I don't want to be filled on this before cash is open. But looks
right
like
at the top.
Don't you? 48.10. I'm in my buy stop.
So Dale, you know, we were just discussing like, kind of targets with the S&P. Like for me, I'm looking at this 161% extension comes in at 149.20. You know, it's kind of where Jim Welsh was talking, but look, it's an equal leg move too, and it's high enough just to get everybody excited about getting into new highs. And that's when, people get John G'd, they, start buying the highs, and then the market reverses, right? So you got to be a little careful here, but with all this divergence, with relative strength, I'm not saying that we can't go higher. I'm just saying that you've got to be really careful, trying to chase around the highs. And, you look at currencies aren't really amused. I mean, and they're not. And then you look around at other markets, you're like, well, China's bouncing, but is it really? I mean, there's a Hang Seng, and here's China, the China 50. I mean, I would be a little nervous about chasing higher, but it does seem like we are going to break higher, and we might actually break out this morning. And we might close at all-time highs and get everybody excited going into next week. Before we see some sort of rug pull in the market. But I would say that trying to fade the markets right here. Ryan, you said you got some buy orders getting triggered.
Yeah, I've got a buy stop triggered. So I'm going to see what it does. It's on a pretty tight stop, so if it goes south, I'm not going to lose too much.
There,
It's what?
We gave you a little hint there for your entry to be done.
Yeah.
In the trade quick. Adam and I, we bought it before you, so your entry could be done.
Yeah, cheers, Adam. Thanks for that.
All right. So hey, we still have Canadian data coming out. Dollar CAD is pulling back a little bit into the data after hitting the 50% retracement. It's been a hella squeeze higher in the dollar CAD, but guess what? We are closing in on support. So how are you guys going to play this? I reduced. I have zero Canadian exposure. I've been playing it to the long side for like the last 2 weeks. I think I exited it right around here, right around the 140, 134.85 or 89 level, right around this, like, this red level. Previous support was thought would act as current resistance. I got out right around here, somewhere around here. But how you guys want to play it? Are you playing it today, Ryan? What do you think?
Sorry, what was that one? What one are you looking at?
Never mind. Okay, man. What do you?
I was off the screen.
I was just asking you if you're going to be playing the dollar CAD around here at these levels.
No, not at these levels. Maybe if you get a decent dip. Retail sales we obviously got. We'll have to see if they match. It's a bit of a funny one because we had that strong CPI data. If you get a strong retail sales here, then obviously you're going to see dollar CAD dipping, but the dollar's not as strong today. It doesn't feel so. That wouldn't be a dip to buy like I would have done the other day.
Got it. K-Man, what do you think? Are you trading any of the CAD around these levels? I saw it as
no,
such a
sir.
good value, but now it's I don't know.
No, I've got nothing in the Canadian dollar right now. No, I perhaps around your dotted line there may be a bit of interest. Yeah, this one is not really wanting to move too fast. The one that you just showed, the EuroCAD either. It's always coming attracted back. It's like a magnet, that 146.40 zone as well.
Yeah.
No, I've got other currencies that I'm watching right now.
Well, what since I got you here, K-Man, tell me what your read was on UK retail sales this morning.
Well, that was the thing. I mean, well, I'm small. I was a bit bigger, but a bit long cable and quite decent short euro sterling. And as the people know in the room, I've been scaling back until last night in the 85.50s. It's all in the trading in our trades room. And so I scaled back more on the back of this of the retail sale. The retail sales. But then I read through the ONS report, and they said like, oh, all volumes were lower, but the actual value of the retail sales didn't move and was actually a tad higher. So people went for different products, and it's a bit of dime on its side here. Especially the euro sterling. I could see somewhere euro sterling move back to 86.20, and we've been trading that really small box now between 50 and 90, and I think if it goes above 92, 93 or so, I'm just gonna get out of it and manage the well. Just
I might get a little squeeze action.
Yeah, I could see it happen, if it's not today, perhaps next week. So I don't wanna just keep stuff that won't work too much anymore. It's been a decent ride. And the other one is still okay. I'm watching that Swiss just tick higher, the Euro Swiss, dollar Swiss, slowly ticking higher. Jordan was out this morning saying he's still happy, doesn't foresee any more hikes if inflation continues to do what it does. So they seem happy. So I think that's going to be a very, very slow grind.
Just in case some of you we've been following this one quite a bit in the ForexAnalytix community, especially going into December when we hit the 161% extension. And it was like, okay, that's a little ridiculous. I'm long some Euro Swiss too, but that was that very end of the year, no liquidity. What the hell's going on? And here you have Jordan, 2 weeks later in Davos, really trying to talk down the Swiss, and you can see the reversal we've seen, the reversal of flows since that illiquid time in December when a lot of the market wasn't around. So yeah. Now, K-Man, how much do you think that this Euro Swiss could really recover?
If you zoom out a little bit, you can see we're in a downward channel.
Yeah.
And 96 should be a pretty interesting zone there on that Euro Swiss. Yeah, that's the one. And once we get there, we're going to be at interesting FIBs, and I think even like longer term moving average or so. But anyway, I think up to there, because he also said like in between the lines, he also said like, but don't go and destroy the good work we have done by buying all those Swiss franc that they did and sending their reserves back down to 2015 levels. But I think, yeah, it's going to be a slow grind back up to that 96. Probably if the dollar doesn't turn for the worse, I could see a dollar Swiss probably hits around the 88 again, and then we'll reassess.
All right. All right. Appreciate it. We have a few more minutes before the data comes out. A couple other things that I think that everybody should be watching here is keep an eye on this dollar MEX. This dollar MEX really hit the 200 DMA this week. We've come back down towards support. This is kind of the breakout area, the 1710 level. We basically come back to it. We're at a 50% retracement. It's kind of a do or die level for the dollar MEX. I don't know if people want to carry the Mexican peso into the weekend, but would be on the long side. But you got to watch S&Ps up here, because if the S&Ps fail ahead of the all-time highs, which is just like I said, just a few points away. It's this big green line up on the top here. It's from December of 2022.
We're not confirming the high on the RSI, I just noticed.
Well, yeah, on S&Ps.
Yeah, and
we're so divergent, it's not even funny. So that's why if we hit new highs, this relative strength is going to be way divergent, and then that's why you have to be real nervous about trying to chase it higher. I mean, you can clearly see it right now. Like, again, I'm just going to allow you guys to use a little bit of imagination. Put yourself about 50 points higher in the S&P. Imagine where that S&P is going, where the RSI is going to be. Probably up towards this red line. Very divergent, and that's going to be an ugly look for new highs. So that's why you have to be really careful about chasing new highs in the S&P, in my opinion. What else I wanted to say really quick? The dollar yen. The dollar yen got a little bit of a wiggle last night, and it got up towards what would be channel resistance. And a lot of these previous support levels you can see back here from October of last year, and we reversed pretty hard. You can see that this is a good example of hitting a new high intraday. Relative strength not. So relative strength went divergent last night, so we got this quick reversal. K-Man, you have any thoughts here on the yen before we go into this?
Yeah, exactly. We had a bit of a blow off top in a few yen pairs overnight because the CPI came in a little bit lower. But as I was also mentioning before, I think it's we are only 2 days before the BOJ, so I think people are taking chips off the table. Decent level on the euro yen, decent level on the dollar yen. There you showed them as well. A lot of yen crosses came into decent zones. So I think that's the market taking off a bit of chips in ahead of the Bank of Japan and the, just in case if they would decide something on the YCC also, because the base case is that they don't do anything, right? But I also think that lower CPI is just proving Ueda right, and it won't change anything either to the Bank of Japan. So yeah, I'm taking chips off and then see what happens over the BOJ, I reckon, with the yen now.
All right, and what day is the BOJ again?
Well, 23rd, 22nd in the evening for you guys, 23rd early morning for Europeans, around noontime for the people listening in Japan.
All right. Well, I'm wondering I wonder if we have it, how many Asians are actually listening to this show right now on a Friday night. I'd be out drinking, but anyway, that's just me.
They are too. Trust me.
All right, we got Canadian retail sales coming up. I'm pulling up the data flash here, and let's move that over so I can bring up the dollar Canadian chart, and we can flip over to other charts once that data comes out. Don't forget, we also have today University of Michigan consumer sentiment. Obviously, inflation expectations are going to be watched. And look, that a lot of people, say, well, who cares about this survey of 5,000 people? But it's a decent sampling, just to get
500
America's ideas on how they feel about inflation. But anyway, retail sales coming out in just a second. Ryan, were you just going to say something?
Yeah, it's 500 people. It's not even 5,000.
I thought it was 5,000, dude.
No, 500 phone calls.
Maybe, and you know what? Work's cheap. Maybe they only called like 5 or 6 people. Like they called around like, hey, grandma.
I call you, Blake.
All right, guys. Hey, retail sales coming out in just 19 seconds. Here we go. Core retail sales expected to Actually, retail sales are expected to drop a little bit from previous numbers, but we'll see what they come out. Let's see how well the Canadian consumer is hanging on here. All right, worse than expected.
Yeah, down 0.5%. Oof.
Oh
That's
man,
supposed
let's
to be
see
a
if that
strong
dollar
month,
CAD can get
isn't
a little bit of a lift here. What are you going to say, Ryan? Sorry.
I'm saying that's November's supposed to be a strong month, isn't it, with all the sales period starting and whatnot?
Yeah, yeah.
Buy more Crown Royal.
That didn't happen. So, and just think about how I know Dale, you talked a lot to like Adam Button, and he lives in, he's a Canadian, and I know that just this mortgage issue is really looming over consumers and people just in Canada, just as a whole. So. It's going to be interesting to watch. I'm very, very skeptical about being long Canadian dollars this year. So anyway, really interesting chart. And Dale, you have an interview today, yeah?
Yeah, I have a couple of new guests. I see Sean just checked in. So at Momo Bag Holder, do you recognize that handle?
I do
It's
not.
been around for a while. Okay, Sean. Well, I'm going to try and promote you, or Blake will help me. As Anthony with you? I'll look for Anthony. So Sean, Shaun.
We got a couple of Sean's with that name here,
But only
SH.
a first name.
Okay. Let me see. I'm gonna promote him. And the other person was who?
Anthony.
Let me see if
Pierce.
I can look around. Anthony Pierce. Looking around. Anthony Pierce. Okay, let me bring him on. Let me see if that worked. I think these guys have to accept it. So you guys just take a look at your computers and your screens and see if that worked.
Neither
Anthony
of them yet.
hasn't come over yet. I can still see him over in the attendees.
And Sean hasn't either.
Sean hasn't either. Let me.
Anthony Pierce saying on the chat room, not me.
Oh, he said not me. Okay.
Okay. So is there another Anthony? All right. But Sean,
Anthony's like, dude, no, I'm not doing it. Not doing it. Let me
no,
see.
people fear public speaking more than death. Some people. Remember?
I don't see any other Anthony's. So let me go back over to Sean really quick. And Sean, if you can chat in the box, in the chat box, and let us know if you have seen the promotion. But oops. That's
okay.
Oh, there we go. Good morning, guys.
Wait, is that Sean?
Sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's Sean. Join as panelist or stay as attendee?
No, join the panel.
Join as a panelist. There you go.
Okay, Sean. Got you.
And there's a Sherry Ryan.
Is Anthony with you?
I believe he's. Let's see. He's probably either opening it up or he's, since I can't see and he's at a different location than I am.
Blake?
Yeah.
Did you invite a person called Sherry Reinschmidt?
No.
Sherry Reinschmidt in the panelists.
Yeah, that wasn't me, but I'm going to go ahead and remove.
Have a great weekend, guys, and a good interview, Dale.
You too.
Hey, K-Man, thank you. Thanks for everything again this week. You too, Ryan. Good luck for the rest of the day, and really, team, for what happened this week. Not too many things surprised us. So,
thanks,
good
Coach,
work.
and right back at you.
Thanks, Coach. Have a great interview with Sean.
All right, I'm going to go with you, Sean. So, Sean, can you hear me?
Yes.
Welcome to F.A.C.E.
Thanks. Good to be here. By the way, I always appreciate your morning motivation and what you post on Twitter. I always seek you out to get that little dose of positive feedback in the morning.
Okay, I'm selfish. I do it for me too. Anyway, Sean, very nice to meet you. Sean's handle is at Momo Bag Holder. Why a Momo Bag Holder?
Yeah, I am by nature a contrarian, and there's something about momentum where eventually it ends, and then you're left with bag holders. So,
Okay.
It was a little bit of a joke because this is such a serious, difficult task of trading, and I thought might as well turn this account into a at least half parody to poke fun at just the difficulty of the experience of trading, because we're all kind of in it together. Everybody follows a different methodology, but they all have their own little flavor on trading. But I thought it would be good to insert a little humor into the mix.
Okay. All right. Do you have anything you want to share on the screen?
Well, if we can, I think Anthony said he's on. And he actually, I had kind of left it up to him to have a few things to share. And if we can figure out how to get him on.
I'm gonna look for him.
I see him now. Let's see if he'll accept it, Anthony. Just plain Anthony, no Anthony.
Yeah, I tried to bring him over too.
He's coming
there
over
he is.
now. Hi, Anthony. Nice to meet you, Anthony. I unmute yourself. There we go.
Hi, guys. Can you hear me?
Got you, Anthony. How are you?
Hey, good morning.
Nice to meet you. Welcome to F.A.C.E.
Good morning. Good morning. Yeah.
So
hey, Sean. And good morning, Dale. Thanks for having us.
You're very welcome. You want to do some screen sharing as we talk about what you guys do in the markets? And I believe your handle is at Geeks of Finance. That's what your YouTube channel said.
That's right. Yeah, that's our YouTube. That's our YouTube handle, and Twitter is at Geek Strategy.
Okay. Okay, so people know how to follow you after the interview, so you can follow Sean at Momo Bag Holder, and again, one more time, Anthony at Finance what?
At Geeks of Finance.
Geeks of Finance. Okay.
And Geek Strategy is the Twitter account. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So why don't we start off with this? Why don't we put something up on the screen, Anthony, while I'm talking to you guys? So Sean, why don't you tell us just a little bit about your journey, encapsulate it, how you first started and how you got to where you are now. You want to do that, Sean? Okay, Anthony, how about you? Would you like to tell us a little bit about your journey?
Sure. So yeah, I've been trading both personally and professionally for about 20 years. I started my professional career.
I had a landscaping business too. Yeah.
Okay. So you were muted when I was asking you, and then when Anthony started, you unmuted. All right.
Oh.
So, all right. Go ahead. Go ahead, Anthony. So 20 years you've been doing it. What were you doing before?
Well, before that, I was in college, so I'm
Okay.
I'm not super old, but not super young.
Okay.
So yeah, for about 20 years, I've been in the financial industry working for most of that time. I started off working at a broker dealer where I was trading equities and equity options. I was responsible for some market making activity as well as trading client orders, and that's kind of really where I got started in the industry. From there, I actually moved over to the buy side. I was working for a large global asset manager for nearly a decade. And that's where I learned the nuts and bolts of portfolio management. And during that time, I started developing tools for my portfolio management processes. mostly using Python, SQL to, crunch data and run various scenario analyses on portfolio management. I was really focused on options trading. So I created a whole suite of proprietary tools to help me manage an options portfolio. And one of the tools that I developed maybe 4 or 5 years ago was a GEX model, which is what our product offering is that Sean and I are working on. It stands for it represents gamma exposure.
Okay.
And it's a way to analyze the options market gamma exposure from a dealer perspective.
Okay.
And so
go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just wondering, a lot of people follow option flow and look for sweeps. Is that in part of your analysis in the options market? Or is that just
No,
too simplified for it to be effective, just following option sweeps by wise guys?
No, I think that can certainly be a useful tool. The gamma exposure is basically giving you a snapshot of the structure of the options market. So you're looking at every contract, every open contract across the options chain for a particular security or stock or ETF, whatever you're looking at. And one of the factors is open interest. Another factor is gamma, which is one of the option Greek metrics. And in that way, you can see where the pain points are for option dealers, where they have to hedge themselves and their book of the underlying security. So just to give you a little bit of background, basically, option dealers are forced to hedge their options exposure by a process which is what's known as delta hedging. Okay. And so they are forced to buy or sell shares of the underlying security in order to hedge their options book. And so as the underlying stock moves up or down, their delta hedging requirement changes and they adjust by buying or selling shares of the underlying security. And the options market has grown exponentially in the last decade. And so this effect is having a larger and larger impact on the equity markets because of this dealer hedging. And so what gamma exposure does.
And the one-day options have played into a big part of that's really what exploded the growth in trading those. What are they? ODTE?
The zero DTE.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. And and those have become more utilized because previously for years contract expirations on, like, for example, on the SPY was Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So you could only have zero DTE options technically on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Now we have options expiring, every single day of the week, going out a number of days into the future.
Okay. So I went to your YouTube channel. What I got from listening to that last one that you had on, I think Sean sent it to me over the weekend, is that you were noticing some things that had you thinking the market might be ready to head lower. Yes, no?
Yeah, we actually, that's sort of an intermediate view. And, but thanks to gamma, we actually had a little bit of a heads up that 480 was likely a magnet for Friday on SPY. And so, it's been super helpful for me, Dale, because I've tried just about everything. And of course, failed a lot of times along the way. And when I started using gamma, it helped to bridge the gap between the theoretical. I've got these different cycle studies that I'm looking at that point at, okay, well, this might be an important date. But, the one thing I've learned about the cycle guys, they usually have good dates, but sometimes they'll have the direction completely
Yeah,
flip,
they inverge.
Yeah. And so gamma has really helped to straighten me out to say, okay, well, I've got this theoretical idea, but this is what the market is telling me is most likely to happen by this time. And but to your point about the 0 date expiration options, we're seeing that in the gamma profile too. So right now, the market is not very committal toward up or down in the next several weeks, but we see these massive gamma clusters, or basically, like a target just for that same day. All the gamma is concentrated in a 1 or 2 day time frame. So, at least as a trader, that's kind of helpful because I can look at that and say, well, not very good chances of the market crashing today, or like the last few days, not a great chance that the market just goes way up. So we actually kind of by Tuesday, we were saying, well, it looks like we'll probably make a midweek low point around VIX expiration, which was Wednesday, and likely a high toward the end of the week. And sure enough, that's what we've seen in our, we have a few people in our Discord channel that were, happy about that. So.
Okay. You said something very important, Sean. You talked about how you have failed a few times, and I'm in that club.
Yeah.
Tell us what you did after that, each one, to because a lot of people listening to us have been through it too. What was your self-talk, and what gave you the, I don't know, courage to go out for another foray after rug pulls? How did you react to them, and how did you motivate yourself to attack the markets again?
Yeah, the way I tried to reach my own understanding of failure is basically tuition. So the key is to make sure your tuition isn't so high that it's going to be insurmountable going forward. So you don't want to have a student loan that you can never pay off. At least the good thing about failing in trading is you're not left with a loan, but at the same time, seeing a big goose egg there isn't enjoyable either.
Yeah. So how did you deal with it?
Yeah, well, it's one of the biggest challenge of trading for me is that you're having to look at yourself in the mirror every day and basically analyze, why I caused myself to fail, which is really the only reason failure occurs. And my conclusion was mostly that there's a point where I was going from, I guess I became too hopeful, instead of admitting that I'm wrong. And the faster that I've been able to admit that I'm wrong and define the risk before taking the trade, this is going to be my entry. Even more important than the exit is, well, what conditions are going to cause me to get out of the trade. So I still take losses sometimes, but the key now is I can, fail 10 times. And all it takes is that one time to make up for the 10 losses because I didn't let those losses become a huge problem.
Okay, that's really pearls of wisdom in there. So I say that hope is the oxygen in our lives, but the carbon dioxide in our trading. And who hasn't tried hope? It doesn't work in your trading plan, but you need to have hope as you go on. You have to have hope to believe that you could do it, right? Even though, but you can't trade with hope, but you still have to be hopeful about what you can do, or shut your platform down. So so it sounds like, how did you find Anthony?
I jokingly say we were a business marriage made through marriage.
Okay.
So actually, I'm married to Anthony's cousin, and But how we came about working together is I actually had a different idea over a year ago, I believe it was, for a different. It's actually an idea that someone else implemented just a few months later. So I was a little bit late in figuring that out. And legally, I was concerned about the idea of having a stock market game where you're betting on the stock market. That ran into all kinds of issues. Now there's somebody out there doing it, but I never got to where I was comfortable with it. But I'd called Anthony because I knew he had really in-depth Wall Street experience on the compliance side, not just the trading side, but compliance.
Oh.
And we ended up not moving forward with that. But then Anthony called me, maybe 6 months later, and so that's how we started working together, because he had actually quit his job in order to trade. And just like he said earlier, he created this tool to help him and he decided, well, we might as well make this available to others, because he's already monitoring and managing the platform for himself. And so I joined him to help with the social media side of things and trying to keep things together, with the different members we have to be the communication guy. So he's really kind of the brains behind the idea. So
okay, so you're Barnum and he's Bailey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
There you go. Yep.
All right.
That's a good analogy. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me get back to you, Anthony. So moving forward, what type of trading are you guys doing from the ideas or signals you get from your GEX? Are you, short term, long term, all of the above, swing traders? What do you find your niche to be in the market?
Yeah, so the main focus is short term to swing trade type plays. It could be anywhere from 1 day to 90-day outlook on our plays, and it's mostly focused on the options market. So we have
So you trade options. So you trade options, not futures. You're trading what you're plotting and what you're looking at.
Yes, and I mean
Okay.
of course, a lot of our members also trade stocks. This could be used either way, but we tend to lean towards options, because options are really the only vehicle where you can express your trades in a probabilistic way. And so you can actually calculate, your implied probabilities and then incorporate additional data like gamma exposure to get an edge on market implied probabilities that are given by the options market. So we're trying to structure our trades in a high probability way around these gamma exposure levels. So that could involve credit spreads, debit spreads, butterflies, iron condors, ratios, a number of different ways. You can get really creative with how you structure your trades with kind of that extra data point in gamma exposure, knowing where the market is concentrated and where the most hedging activity is going to be taking place.
Okay. And it's mainly the SPYs, right? Any Qs or anything else that you participate in, or mainly?
Oh yeah, no, we
SPY?
cover like top 100. So it's going to be the major indices, ETFs. So of course, SPY, Qs, IWM, the diamonds, a lot of other major, ETFs like USO or sector specific ETFs. And then I would say top 100, mega cap stocks that we also follow. So we run a gamma exposure analysis on all of those.
Okay. Are you compiling a track record of your recommended positions?
Yeah, we have a Discord channel, which discusses our strategies as well as our trade ideas. And so we post those in there for our members, of course. And we're looking at some other ways to, better allow our group to, basically build their own portfolio based on a number of, option strategies and kind of and help them model that out. What is their risk reward probabilities on building, maybe a small portfolio of like 5 or 6 positions, right? Which may have expirations in the next 30 days.
Okay. So, and this is something, GEX is something that you coded and came up with yourself?
Yeah, I mean, there's some, I would say, some public information, that a lot of really smart people have put out there on gamma exposure, like conceptually as well as programmatically. And so that's kind of what sparked my interest in it. And so I took some basically public information on just some generic, like, different ways that you could compile option data and create a gamma exposure model. And so I developed my own model based on that. But just for, the average user, if you just do a Google search for gamma exposure, you'll find a lot of information about, how you can calculate it yourself, how you can code for gamma exposure. It's difficult, and there's a lot of data management issues when it comes to that, which is why we developed this tool to make it easy for people who want access to the calculations, but maybe don't have the programming capabilities or don't have the data analytics capabilities, which are required to build something at this scale.
Okay, so gamma, any other Greek words like delta or anything else that matter to you, or is it laser focused on gamma exposure?
Yeah, so we pay attention, of course, to delta as well and theta. I mean, I particularly pay a lot of attention to theta because if you're selling any kind of option strategy, selling credit spreads, for example, you need to know what your theta is because that is going to measure the rate of decay of the option prices. So when you're selling options, of course, you want all of that premium to decay because that's what you're collecting as income.
Right.
So we pay attention to all of those factors. Yeah.
Okay. So you have a business model, you have a room where on Discord where you share your ideas. If you'd like people that are watching it or see the recording later, perhaps you could bring up your website so people would know where to go to find you and check you out. So there it is. That's not it.
Yeah, geeksoffinance.com.
Here it is. Okay. Okay. So
yeah, there's that little icon at the upper left that connects to the Discord channel.
Oh, okay.
And it's free for people that want to join us.
The Discord room?
Yeah, certain channels are, not all of them, but
okay.
But we try to share a lot for free because we're trying to grow our membership and also to show people that this works. That's what's important and what I'm excited about.
Yeah, we've got a general chat channel, which is free to everybody. So, I think there's probably about 200 people in the general chat channel, and who are pretty, stay pretty active. So that's, you're welcome to come in and you'll get an idea from all of our channels, our trade ideas, our strategy sessions. But just if you just want to stick around for free general chat, we talk and share a lot of our data in the general chat for people. So,
okay. And why did you choose Discord for a platform for your business? Any particular reason?
Yeah, Sean and I both like Discord just for the ease of use. You can do a
Right.
lot of different things. You can categorize, your topics. You can do audio, video. You can like notify members. Everything's kind of all in house, and there's an app so on your phone, so it's really
Right.
easy to stay connected.
Well, Sean, you reached out, and it was great to meet both you and Anthony. I hope that you guys have a fantastic 2024, and if you have a tool that helps people in this market, may you grow like a mushroom. And really was nice to meet you guys. And why don't you leave us with your call going into next week? Are we approaching a point? I'm starting to see some divergences develop here, even on shorter time frames in the spies. Uh, we make new all-time highs, maybe stretch to 4,900, and then come off. What's your work telling you?
Yeah, I like to use Keltner channels a little bit more than Bollinger's. Even within Anthony and I both have different indicators that we like to use. That's the beauty of Gamma, is that you can use different indicators and still end up kind of arriving at the same conclusion once you factor all of this information in. So I see exactly what you're seeing, Dale, that there is a pathway to 4,900. We're also approaching earnings season, which whether that's positive or negative, you would think that there's likely to be some sort of optimism leading to that. But as far as what we're expecting, I really think we're going to have to get through today's expiration for Gamma to give us a clear picture of what we're looking at. I have my own reasons to believe that we're actually down next week before we do anything else. So I can't really see beyond that. But
all right, that's
what
enough.
do you think, Anthony? Okay, yeah.
Okay, Sean. So
Yep.
thank you very much, guys. Good luck, and hope that that the visibility helped you guys out today.
Thank you, Dale. We really appreciate the opportunity. Always good to talk to you.
All right, good hunting.
Yeah, thanks, Dale. Nice to meet you.
So, Sean, Anthony, you're now my trading warrior brothers because you got through an interview with this crabby old man.
Our first one with anybody, so thank you.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, you virgin interviewers, you did a great job, and good luck, good hunting, and we'll do this again down the road, and we could get more
Sounds great.
specific about market calls, etc. So have a great weekend,
Very
and
good.
so you could find Anthony's Twitter handle is at Momo Bagholder. And
Yep, that's mine.
And Geeks of Finance is the website to check out the Gamma Exposure dashboard with these guys. So have a great weekend, everyone. Hope you enjoyed it. Get some rest, recharge your battery, and get ready for another week. We'll do it again and lay it out on the court for you. And most of all, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. You had a down week. Consider yourself fortunate that you have money to speculate with and have a roof and food on the table and your health. And the other is just money. Okay, so that's a wrap, everyone. Have a great weekend. I'll see